This week on the Computer Chronicles, computer and internet security. We'll meet a guy who hacks for a living. He'll show us how easy it is to break into your computer. This is software called Freedom, designed to protect your security and privacy when you're online. Anybody sent you a cute game or greeting card online lately? We'll show you why it could have a Trojan horse in it. And if you think it's cool to beam business cards from PDA to PDA, watch out. That's just another way to get infected with a nasty virus. Computer and internet security, all coming up next on the Computer Chronicles. Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by PC to PC, the online computer migration service from PC First, moving files, applications, and preferences from your old computer to your new one. Additional support is provided by Upside Events, presenting the Digital Lifestyle Revolution Conference, where people and technology intersect. Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet. There's a catch-22 in the world of computing and the internet. The more accessible you make your server, your website, to customers, the good guys, well, the more open it is to possible attack by hackers, the bad guys. And the more secure you make your site and your system to protect against hacks, well, the less accessible it is to the people you want to let in. Today we're going to look at a variety of security problems and solutions for PC users, web surfers, and businesses. And to start us out, a guy who understands both sides of this equation, Greg Hoagland. Hi, Greg.
Hi. You
are, I guess, what we'd call a lawful hacker, right? I mean, you know all the tricks of the trade, but you work for a company that provides security solutions to protect against hacks.
Yeah. I've been researching vulnerabilities probably my whole career in computers, and you have to be able to understand vulnerabilities to be able to protect against them. So that's where I spend my time.
All right, I'm going to ask you to do a couple things, and I want to explain to our audience that we're not going to run a tutorial for hackers here, but I do want to ask you to show us how easy it is, in fact, for people who have these skills to break into something and to get information they shouldn't have. Now, explain what your demo is here.
Well, Stuart, I have a demo bank set up here on this laptop.
So
it's
we've set up a mock bank and their accounts here.
Yes, and inside of this web server is a database of accounts, which I've got up on this screen here. This is actually on this screen the web server itself, so you can see that there's a database in there.
So over at the bank server are the names of customers and their account numbers and their balances and so on.
You got it.
And you're going to show us how a hacker could actually get in and steal that information.
Yeah, and not only just get in, but very simply get in.
All right, so what do we do?
Well, I'm going to go to the website here where I've got my fake account set up, and I want to perhaps look at my account balance, so I'll go in there. And what just happened is I just went in and accessed the database to get my information.
So you're a customer and said, give me my information.
Yeah, I got my balance, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Now, what's very interesting about this is that up here in the URL, which is the bar, which you type in the web address at the top, there are commands up there embedded. And those commands are being used to show the account information. It's how the website understands who I am and what to show me. Now, what's not probably immediately obvious is that you can change these commands manually. So if I were to go up here and start changing this command, I can fool the database into believing that I'm everybody.
And you're looking at everybody's
And I'm looking at everybody's account number.
You just added a couple of characters to that URL.
Up in the top, I changed the way that command was structured. And essentially, you've got to remember, computers are very, very dumb. They don't know what to do. They only know what you tell them precisely to do. So exactly, I am telling the computer that I am everybody. I've confused the application into believing that I should see every single record in this database.
And there's basically just a hole in this application software that lets you do that.
Yes, and it's actually, this particular bug is directly related to allowing me, the remote user, to control what's in what's called an SQL statement, which is used in databases.
Let's try another example. This is an example in which you kind of sucked information potentially illegally out of somebody's server, off their database, how you can put a virus or a bad file onto somebody's server.
Yes. Okay, so here I've taken some data. In this next example, I have written a vulnerable, what's called a CGI program, that doesn't check my input that I'm supplying here on the bar very well. It just kind of uses it in a correct way, but I'm going to add some extra characters, some extra commands, maybe send it out of order and whatnot, and again, confuse it. So let me get in there and try that one out.
So then you're just going to get inside the URL data.
Exactly. So I've actually bookmarked this particular link because it's so complicated to type manually. So again, you can see all this crazy stuff being typed up here. I'm trying to confuse the application. I'm trying, in this particular instance, to paste in a special command inside of the command that it normally ran. And I've created a file on the hard drive. Actually run the attack here. It should pop up. In that directory, a file called exploit.txt just appeared. It wasn't there prior.
So this time you were able to take a file from your machine and shove it onto somebody else's server somewhere, and to do evil things, theoretically.
Yeah, I could have inserted a virus. I could add accounts to maybe the accounting database.
Yeah. Can you go in and steal people's passwords?
Absolutely. That's one of the easiest things to do. Passwords are usually stored in a file. They are encrypted, but that doesn't prevent someone from using what's called a brute force attack to hash those out. And so stealing files off the system is a very common attack on the internet.
How about just crashing somebody's site just to be malicious?
Well, that's even easier. In fact, if I had typed all of this wrong, even with all of my knowledge about how to structure
put some garbage in there,
I probably would have crashed it.
Wow. How about, can you steal somebody's email? Get into somebody's
Well,
email?
once again, it's stored on a hard drive. If it's stored on the hard drive and I can get files off the hard drive, then of course I can read somebody's email.
Okay, we hear about encryption. All this, we're safe, it's encrypted, 128-bit encrypted, blah, blah, blah. Does that protect you?
Well, encryption does one thing. It protects people from snooping your data as it's going across the internet.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people realize that when their credit card finally gets to the remote system, it's stored in a database.
Yeah.
And that doesn't prevent a hacker from later on, maybe tomorrow or next week, from breaking into that database, and then they're still going to get your credit card number.
Right.
Also, credit card fraud's nothing new. The credit card company supplies insurance against fraud. So I don't think it's necessary that people be scared to use their credit card on the internet. I think that the credit card fraud is the same if you go to the local store and use your credit card or just do it online. It's all being stored in a computer.
Greg, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, if you're a consumer on the internet, you have a long list of security concerns. You want to protect your privacy. You want to limit the amount of snooping that websites or hackers can do on your computer. One new solution for this is a package called Freedom 2.0 from Zero Knowledge. And here to show it to us is Alex Fowler. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Stuart.
What's the basic problem we're dealing with here that you're trying to solve with your product?
Well, privacy and security are two of the top consumer concerns on the internet. And in particular, identity theft is driving a lot of these concerns. It's now the fastest growing crime in the US.
So what you can do is enable me, using this software, to be sort of anonymous online so people don't know who I am and can't find my information?
Well, it's more than just anonymity. Anonymity is part of the solution, but it's also identity management. There are security features that need to be addressed
well, let's go into that. Now,
Okay.
You have it all loaded up, so you've created what, a pseudonym in a way?
Well, what I have here is this is my control bar for Freedom. And you can see here that I have a series of different identities, this first one being my true identity, and the second two being pseudonymous identities that are encrypted and they're secure, and only I know that they're linked to my, who I really am.
All right, so what does that lead to? What's the benefit of that?
Well, so the basic benefit is that I am in control of who has access to my true personal information or my kids' information. And it can't be surreptitiously picked up when I'm browsing, when I'm emailing
show us some
with
of the
people.
examples now. You have, for instance, an ad manager function. What does that do?
Yeah, so the ad manager basically monitors the number of servers, third-party servers, that are trying to present ads to me when I'm browsing online. What we've done in Freedom is we've enabled an ad management process so I can basically block those ads, and I can select which ones I want to allow. I have just more control over that.
So all these guys who are trying to target me with the perfect ad, I can say, leave me alone.
Yeah, and we see this as very helpful to improve performance.
Okay. In terms of protecting security, I want you to show us your next feature, which is the form filler, because that's where you give everybody all your information.
Yeah.
Right?
So the form filler is, again, it runs across your different identities. So my true identity, it's all accurate personal information.
So that's the real you.
That's the real me. And then the First Amendment, which is one of my pseudonyms, and the techno-political, the information that's created here is just automatically generated.
Data.
Yeah, but it's consistent.
So if somebody tried to hack in to steal your information, they'd steal the wrong information, basically?
Right.
All right, now what about, you can also create your own personal firewall with this?
Again, as I said, security is an important feature here. So what we've done is we've created a personal firewall all of us who are migrating to
So the
high
DSL
speed.
guy, the cable modem guy.
Exactly. So we can basically monitor any requests coming in or going out across internet applications.
What about things like cookies? People dumping cookies on your hard drive.
That is one of the chief ways that we are being tracked and profiled. So we have a cookie manager as part of the product. And one of the things that I think is very interesting, I was just at CNN a few minutes ago, and I picked up a cookie there, and the expiration date is the 2037.
The year 2037,
Yeah.
that's how long that cookie is going to be on your hard drive.
So this allows me to manage that experience. I can block it. Or
What about anonymity with email? I mean, sometimes we're worried about responding to messages because people don't know where it came from.
Yeah, the email is actually a very important feature because email messages are where we are, sort of the heart of what communicating online is all about. And so here, just as an example, I loaded up the Outlook Express. I got a firewall event, and I'm going to allow this to make the connection. Now what this is saying is I have some outgoing mail already there. I'm just going to block it for purposes of this demonstration. And so what I can do is I can create an email message. Sorry about that. I'm going to send a message to a person at Hotmail about privacy. And basically, I can enter, quick message here.
But the point is here, I mean, the message doesn't matter, that I can send the email and people can't track me back.
That is the key to this, right? And it's encrypted so that the only person who can read the message is the final recipient.
Can you block spam?
Spam is one of the primary functions of the Freedom product, and we can also block all known spammers based on publicly available lists.
Now, there's another nice feature you have in here. I want you to show us, I guess it's keyword alert, you call it?
Yeah, I was
explain that.
Well, so in this email message that I just started to type up, I, just for purposes of this demonstration, have typed in my real name, even though I'm sending this to somebody that I want to be pseudonymous with. So I say, okay, send the message, and in the process of sending the message, the keyword alert pops up, and it says that I have entered a keyword, and asks me whether I want to block it or allow it to go through.
So it's covering up your real name, so if you make a mistake and put it in, it says, no, we'll cover that name for you.
And this is really an important feature for parents who want to make sure their kids aren't inadvertently typing their phone numbers or their names.
Sure, that'll block that. All right, just quickly show us what would happen if you actually logged on to something, having set these things up, like just opening up a browser, going to the CNN site or whatever.
Yeah, so here we are at CNN, and right now you'll notice that there are no ads on here, and you'll see there's a big bar.
So that block you put in, well, I like that.
Yeah, and I can actually show you what it looks like with the ads very quickly by simply doing a refresh. And by the way, I'm using my First Amendment pseudonym, so I am completely anonymous to CNN at this point. And as it loads in, we should see some ads. There we go, Larry King Live.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right, coming up next, security for wireless devices. Don't go away, we'll be right back. There are two main security worries the typical internet user has: virus infection and malicious code, executables that can do damage to your computer or actually eavesdrop on you. Here to show us the problem and a solution is Walter Heil, Director of Security Services for Finjan Software. Hi, Walter. Let me ask you about these two different situations. We hear a lot about viruses, but as I said, there's viruses and then there's these executables, or the Trojan horse. Explain the difference between those two.
Right. Well, what we're doing is going after and protecting, providing a first strike protection against malicious code. So that is the product like the Anna Kournikovas or the I Love Yous of the world. There seems to be a pretty significant rise in that space that can cause damage to not only the computers but also corporations from...
All right. So it's not just going to mess up your computer, it's going to make your computer do things that can then have other negative consequences for you.
That's correct. There's a lot of malicious activity that can take place behind the scenes, which we'll demonstrate in this demo.
Let's do that now, because most people don't realize you get like a greeting card, you know, one of these animated greeting cards or a game, and there can be nasty stuff in there. That's what we have right now. So explain what you've set up here, Walter.
Well, and this kind of gives you an idea. Let me paint a scenario for you. Could be, you could be sitting in a boardroom or something like that, and you're kind of bored, but you're looking through your email, and here's a message from your buddy Stu. So you say, let's see what's going on here.
So I sent you this innocent email, and hey, I've attached this cute little game.
And by the way, you might be saying on the side, hey, how did Walter get an email from me? Well, there's a lot of technology out there that can spoof your email or your wife's email or some coming from Larry Ellison.
Right, so it really wasn't for me, some guy faking it. Yeah.
Right, and here's an example. This is what's called a Bill Gates demo.
Right. Cute little game. I think a lot of people have probably seen this.
And so what's happening here is that we start this.
So here's a game. Cute. Wasn't this fun? This guy Stu sent me this interesting game.
Going on here, and the old pie in the face. Good old Bill.
Okay, so it looks totally innocent, right?
Yep, been there, done that.
But what's really happening?
What's happening behind the scenes is that this program has gone in and grabbed a number of files from my own directory. And to give you an idea, my expense file, my calendar.
So it just grabbed all these files, shoved them around, put them somewhere else on my hard drive.
Put them somewhere. And this is an example. This could be sent off real time in some type of industrial espionage that could take place.
So files, I might think my files have disappeared.
Right. Well, that could be, or it could be sent on real time to someone
now what else could be going on underneath here?
Well, let me give you an example. Here's a...
Done that, so what's really happening? What's happening behind the scenes is that this program has gone in and grabbed a number of files from
what we're doing here is that we're showing you that we also turned on the speaker here and recorded a message as when we were playing that game. So again, that could be done real time.
So if I had a microphone hooked up to my computer, most of them do by now,
Most of them do.
What that executable did was go in there, turn it on, and actually record our conversation right here.
That's correct.
That's what we're listening to.
Yep.
So this is pretty evil stuff.
It could be.
How do you stop this?
Well, what we do is we have what's called a behavior monitoring technology. And so what we're going to do is to monitor the behavior as opposed to some of the antivirus approaches out there, which is a signature database.
So you're just sort of matching, this looks like a virus, and we'll alert you have a problem, do something about it.
If it's doing something malicious, opening a network connection, deleting a file, writing to the registry, we'll stop it.
Okay. Now, how do you do that? You actually, this is sort of like pattern recognition, evil pattern recognition?
Well, it's called sandboxing approach that we take, which is similar to what Java has. And we've got our own patent technology on the product as well.
All right, now explain for people to understand what a sandbox means.
Okay, a sandbox is similar to a secured area where code can run real time. And if it's going to try to do something that is against the policy that you've set up or something malicious, we'll automatically stop it.
So you just sort of temporarily shove it over here into kind of a safe little cell, let it do its thing, find out if it's bad, and then stop it if it is.
That's correct.
Now I want you to explain one other thing, Walter, how easy it is for people to hack, for kids to get this stuff and do this stuff.
Well, it is. And not only that, but there's something called script kiddies out there, which is a description of the 16-year-old, bored 16-year-old, or a 60-year-old for that matter. And they can point and click their way into some pretty interesting viruses, based on the tools that are out there that can do some major harm.
So you can just go online and pull down a lot of the tools you need to go around hacking, right?
Very easily done.
So it's a serious problem. So if somebody sends you a game, you don't know them, think twice before opening it up?
Well, that's it. Think twice before you open up something that says, see my animated baby pictures, or I love you, or something like that.
Walter, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, if you have an always-on internet connection like DSL or cable modem, you are especially vulnerable to attack. Almost anyone can probe your computer anytime. One solution is a personal firewall, and here to show us that solution and a few other tricks is Tom Powledge of Symantec. Hi, Tom.
Thank you.
Let's set up the problem, first of all. Why is a person with an always-on internet connection particularly vulnerable?
Well, just because of that, your computer is always on the internet. You turn it on, and it's there. You don't have to dial in.
You're a terminal on a network.
Essentially, right. You just turn on the computer, and you're on the internet. It's just that simple. And then you become a target, because most consumers are not concerned about the security of their computers. Right. Hackers know this. And it's just really easy pickings.
And hackers can just go out there and just run just a whole string of IP addresses and just run around knocking into people's computers.
They're automated tools that hackers download. They're able to scan large sections of the internet. It's basically, they rattle thousands of virtual doorknobs.
Now, why would they do that? I'm thinking, what does anybody want to do with my little hard drive, my computer?
Well, they may want to use your computer as an attack point to go and attack other computers. They may simply want to steal your files, or they may even want to store their own files on your computer.
All right, we have a little demonstration set up here to show really how easy that is. I'm on the internet over here, you're on the internet over there. I happen to know your IP address, and I'm going to try to actually break in to your computer right now, and let's see if this works here.
So what you've done is you can see you've attacked my machine. There was an alert from the product, and now the status is showing that your computer is blocked from
I can see it. I'm hung up here because I couldn't get through to you.
Right, we're blocking the connection. Now we'll block your connection to my computer for 30 minutes, and you won't be able to send
And as we've seen, the next time I try to do this, I can't even get close to you because it knows this is a bad guy trying to get into my machine.
That's absolutely correct.
All right, what are we using here, actually? This is what product from Symantec?
This is Norton Internet Security. It includes a personal firewall, plus antivirus software, and some other things to protect your privacy. The first component of it is the personal firewall. Very easy to set up. You install it, and you're up and running. Another component is the privacy control. What this allows you to do is protect personal confidential information on your computer. So if I click confidential information here, I can go ahead and add information like my bank account, credit card number, to make sure it's not sent from my computer without my knowledge. Some of the other things that I can do here is make sure that I'm not being tracked by cookies. So for example, I can go in and block all cookies from coming to my machine, and sometimes those are used to track people on the internet. Another feature is ad blocking.
Right, we've seen that before.
We enable ad blocking.
And the antivirus,
and then a full version of Norton Antivirus is included as well.
All right, now let's get to another arena in which you guys are involved, which most people certainly don't think about, and that is the fact that you can get a virus ultimately into your computer, perhaps, from a Palm Pilot. Guys are running around beaming their business cards, right, from PDA to PDA.
Sure, you can get a virus on your Palm by beaming, by hot syncing it with your computer. And now there are even wireless email services for the Palm, and you can get a virus that way.
All right, we have a little demonstration here again. We want to show this. Now, I've got my Palm over here. You have a Palm over there. And I'm going to nominally beam my business card to you. But the fact is, I've got a virus inside there. So let's see how this all works. So let me turn my Pilot on and get into beam mode here. And I'm going to send you my little business card, Tom, okay?
So I recognize the connection.
Okay, it just went to you.
And I go ahead and say that I'm going to accept it. I accept it, and because it's infected with a virus, now what you see is Symantec Antivirus for the Palm has caught this. So in real time, as soon as it got onto the system, we detect it, and we're able to go ahead and delete that right off of the Palm.
So the same kind of thing we would do if we saw antivirus software on our PC, but people are just, beaming all over the place. That's as insecure as it can get, probably. Same issue. Yes. So is this actually a new product called, what's that called?
It's a new product called Symantec Antivirus 2001 for the Palm OS. It'll run on any device that runs the Palm OS, and it uses our Auto Protect technology to keep you constantly protected from this emerging threat on the Palm.
Yeah. Tom, is this forever going to be like a spy versus spy game here? I mean, we're going to deal with these risks and threats to our computers all the time?
I think that as long as people have access to the internet, there's going to be some people who use it for good purposes, and there are going to be others who use it for bad purposes, and I think we'll have to stay vigilant.
On the virus side, one key message we ought to close with here is that if you go out and buy something like Norton Antivirus or the Internet Security tool, you're not finished then, right? Because every day there's some new thing that could be bad.
Right, and we have a team of people who are constantly working to keep the software up to date. We have a feature called Live Update, which automatically downloads virus definitions and updates to the machine to keep you constantly protected.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. All right, that's it for our look at computer security. I'll be back in just a moment with my pick of the week, a very secure way to access your PC via the web. Don't go away. Now for my pick of the week. About a year ago, we told you about a product called Expert City. It's a website that offers online tech support for computer users. And one of the most interesting parts of that service was a technology that enabled the support person to actually take remote control of your computer and show you how to fix the problem or just fix it for you. Well, some clever engineer or marketing guy at Expert City said, wait a minute, that's not a feature, that's a whole separate product. And the good news is you can now get that product. It's called GoToMyPC.com. It's a website that lets you access your personal computer from anywhere in the world, from any web browser. There have been software programs in the past that let you operate your PC by remote control, but only if you had the right laptop with you that had the appropriate software installed. With GoToMyPC.com, it doesn't matter what computer you're using or where you are, the application is web-based, so you always have access, and there's no complicated setup. This is very cool, and right now it is a free web-based service. Just install the engine on your computer, and as long as it's on and online, you can look at it and operate it from anywhere. Try it out for free at GoToMyPC.com. That's it for this week's edition of Computer Chronicles. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions about anything you saw on the show, please check out our website at computerchronicles.org. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope we'll see you here again next week. Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by PC to PC, the online computer migration service from PC First, moving files, applications, and preferences from your old computer to your new one. Additional support is provided by Upside Events, presenting the Digital Lifestyle Revolution Conference, where people and technology intersect.
To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.